Right, so the next set from this customer is a Maycom EM27. Never been able to fix one of these. We've got some circuits. I had a word with the importer shortly before they finished, and they did send me what circuits they'd got and what notes they'd got. So we do have something. The early versions have a battery in them. The battery leaks. It's a multi-layer printed circuit board. It's not just the front and back, it is multi-layer, and it rots the inner layer as well as the outer layers, and there you go. So this is the new improved one, which I hope it is, and it should have the green display. The customer says he's only from new, otherwise we wouldn't be entering into it, like the Cobra we wouldn't be entering into. He sent the instruction book with us. I don't know whether we've got this on file, so I might I'll check that out, and then we'll scan it. And somewhere in here will be the factory original mic, and hopefully that works better than the factory original Cobra. So when these came out, and I first opened one up in 1999-2000, as soon as PR27 97 came out, we were absolutely thrilled with the technology. We really were. And then we got the returns. I think these work okay. I don't think there's any issues with that. I don't have a lead for this. And it makes some nasty racket, I think he said. He's right there. So that's as far as we can go with it without opening it up. So I've probably got about 6 of these of the early version, including the realistic. Was it the 2015? Anyway, they're all no-hopers, and I've never accepted one in from a customer because they're usually no-hopers. I've done one on here, which was the one we bought new, which was the absolute final production version, and I seem to recall it worked okay. Screw on the back. I expect we'll have to take the lid off as well. I'm going to put the soldering iron on because we're about to need to do that. So they must have been in production for about 10 years. It's seen plenty of corrosion, and it's the one with the battery. So I think we've got the no-hoper. So it might well be the new improved version, but it's not the final version. I just don't think I think I'm wasting my time actually going any further. This could be our shortest ever video, and it's absolutely as predicted. Right, that's got rid of the speaker. I'll take the other lid off. So as you can see, the board is rotted. someone's had to put a reverse polarity protection diode of the immense size on that side for some reason. Is that normal? I'm going to try and unsolder this battery. And then we'll see what tracks are severed on this side. We'll see what tracks are severed on the other side, and what tracks are severed in the middle, well, we won't know, and that's where the problem's going to lie. This is going to be difficult to unsolder because of the corrosion. If I was in the other workshop, we've got flux. I'll pause the video while to get rid of this. Well, you know what, folks? I've actually got this thing working. I've gone over the board both sides with isopropyl alcohol and Mr. Chippy's toothbrush, and I've gone over it with a fiberglass brush to kind of push away the rot, and I've powered it up with some trepidation, having buzzed through a few of the tracks with the multimeter, and lo and behold, it's powered up. Now, this isn't going to have memories anymore, and I'm not fitting or ordering a capacitor because there's nothing to anchor it to because the board's so knackered. But as long as somebody can put up with having to, well, so many sets start on channel 1 anyway, this would be no different. So I really don't think it would be safe to put anything in this. We'll see how it goes. It's about the 26th today. So their new improved wasn't as new and improved as the later new and improved one was. It actually, I think the 99 refers to the year and the board's the 97 one, so it's not, might not be the earliest production, but it's not far off. So let's see what it's doing on transmitter. Switch picture in picture on. So at the moment it's doing 4.4 watts. Let's get deviation. Wallow. What deviation? It's a bit low, isn't it? Testing 1 2, testing 1 2, 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2. Perhaps our meter's not tuned right. Wallow, it's just very low deviation. Frequency. Come on, change camera. Thank you. Is 2779098. And the receive sensitivity put some volume on it, make sure the RF gain's up, and not change channel if I can find volume. Oh, I'm on the extension speaker because I didn't want to risk it putting that racket through our test instruments. There we go. So at the moment the receives a very acceptable 0.8. the squelch is. So it's 150 microvolts tight, and then let's set minimum. Very good. Naught 0.25 microvolts. Minimum. S meter. Let's go to 100 microvolts. So it's 34. And when we press transmit, what happens to that meter? I don't know what this is supposed to be set as. It's full scale deflection anyway. It doesn't have PA, does it now? So at the moment, oh, let's look at transmit current. 1.41. It's going to draw more current because it's got a processor in it. So apart from very low deviation, that actually works very well. So I'm going to dig our notes out. I'll come back on another session and we'll see whether it's still working. Right, so we've got some notes from when we did our demonstration one. We had a new, as I said, we had a new old stock one. These are some of the circuit bits we've got. If anyone has a full manual, we've only got a few pages like this. It would help if they've could email me those, please. So, as it stands, it's not working that badly. If I can find where... oh, it's still working. I've come back to this 3 hours later. So let's get on with doing a tune-up. We'll go... I'd like to get a scratchy corner test done with this later. I didn't expect this customer was going to get either set back working. It'd be fun for him to have both back working. I made myself a cup of tea. I've left it in the living room. So 4 hours later, let's see what power this radio is doing. .4 watts on channel 20. Let's see if we can change channel. And it's doing 4.4 watts on channel 40. I'm only going to do UK channels. It's doing 4.5 watts. So if we did put it onto CPT, no idea, because nothing says banned. National recall, auto monitor beep. No, right. Doesn't do low power. So everything's been warmed up nicely. So let's look at the frequency. 20. Oh, we'll go back to channel 20. 2779102. So as it's warmed up, it's just gone up a little bit, which is absolutely great. So the reference crystal is there. Oh, hang on a minute. There's two. Let's look at the notes. I hate one to be VCO. The right hand one is set frequency. The left hand one's VCO. That doesn't look good. It went down and not up. Oh, it is going up. Just must have been a little bit of dirt. Just leave it there. 6 toggling 7. So we'll touch these up. That one at the back is going to be to do with setting the harmonics, which we'd do on the spectrum analyzer. But it's not being messed with, so we've no reason to have to do that. One of the things, we're not going to use the spectrum analyzer every single radio. If it's not being messed with and it comes through scratchy corner test all right, we're not going to use the spectrum analyzer. There is an extra fee when we start putting it on that, so I try and keep customers' costs down. So basically what happens, if I noticed that it was struggling, if I noticed the test set was struggling to pick up, you know, like I key up and instead of it saying 27 megs it said 14 megs or 56 megs. If it was struggling like that, we then would look at the spectrum analyzer automatically. If Mr. Chippy said to me, hang on a minute, I've got to scratchy corner and I can't hear you, well, we'd look at it on the spectrum analyzer. So that's what that's about. But there's no reason to suspect there's been any fiddling about. So we'll go through, although it's doing more than the legal limit and we're going to have to bring it down, we've just got to make sure it's at peak. And it is. So that it didn't need a touching at all. So if I look at the notes, have we got a note for power? You know what? I haven't. That I have. That one. Need a different tool. Now we're absolutely bob on 4 watts. Don't ever play this game where you're turning sets up, because it doesn't make any difference to your range. As I've said before, you end up, to double your range you need something like 64 watts, so all it does is it thrashes the radio and you could end up with spurious emissions. So now on channel 40 we've got 4 watts, and now on channel 1 we've got 4 watts. And the transmit current, I'll go back to channel 20. It's 1.33. So let's look at deviation. Or have we got another duff mic? So 850 is deviation. I think that's 850. Put our oscillator on. As you can see, it's really, really low. And I just hope it'll come up. And it won't, you know. Wallow, 1.5. That's about like a new set works. So I'm just going to make sure our test set is set right. Wallow, it is set right. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1. That would make it quieter than I would like, and it would make me wonder why it's doing this. So how many pins are on this mic? 1 2 3 4 5 6. We may have to wire up a standard mic as part of the tests here. 1 2. Wallow, 1 2, wallow. So at the moment I'm going to put here at the edge 1.5 kilohertz. It's about like new sets do, which is not good. We haven't had that in the past. Let's look back at the notes. We were able to set up 2.2 to 2.5 on our sample. So we'll come back to that. Now the receive. Oh, what about the meter? Can you set it on this? I don't know. This could be one of the ones you can't. So we've got, no, you can't. It's hang on a minute, folks. What's that? That's deviation. That's S meter. You can set it on receive, but not on transmit. So always, that's right. Even when these stop transmitting, it'll show that it's transmitting. I remember that now. So we'll go through the receiver. So we'll start by, do these have a conventional detector? Yes, I think they do. Let's find the right camera. There we are, that's the right camera. We'll put the oscilloscope on and put 100 microvolts on the signal generator, so it's equivalent to S9. we've got an improvement there. Right, that's good. We'll turn the oscilloscope off and we'll go over to the cyanide meter. So, turning the signal generator down to about 4 dB, see whether we can improve the already good receive. And the answer is we have just a little bit. So we'll get a new reading. Now I've got 0.68 microvolts. I'll show you that on the attenuator. What I failed to do was to note down the 10 and the 20. So we don't have a before. 0.52 and 20 dB is 3. So never worry about 20 because it's all about noise, this test. Now we'll listen to how far we can actually hear it down to. I'll change the tone so we can hear it more easily. So 1 microvolt, 0.3 microvolt. Now yesterday when I did the Cobra, that was the limit to what we could hear. 0.25, 0.2, 0.15, 0.12. So we can hear that down to 0.12. So that's very good. Put the signal generator back to the normal tone. We'll turn the volume down a bit for those who don't like it. So the squelch wanted a little tiny bit of adjustment. So let's put it to full squelch once again. So remember, I like these to open at 100 microvolts. So 1, 3, 10, 30, 100. And you know what? Now I've tuned the receiver, it's spot on. So we don't need to touch it. It's the preset there. Is it? Yes, it is. Because that's... Oh no, squelch is that one, folks. Squelch is that one. The S meter is that one. We'll do the S meter right now. We've got the signal generator at 100 microvolts. There. So that wants to be... 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So that is S9. And then it goes to plus 30, which is one more bar. So now we'll check the sensitivity at the other end, which was very good. So we've now got 100. Non-adjustable. So on tight squelch we've now got 100 microvolts. And on, let's turn the squelch, we'll turn the signal generator to 0.3 of a microvolt, we'll switch it to standby, put the squelch down on the radio, set threshold, switch the signal generator back on. It's come straight in at 0.3, I mean, it's even hovering at 0.11. So it's coming in at 0.15. It's excellent. So we don't know about the mic, we don't know about the speaker. So other than that, so severe PCB corrosion. So I've done my best to clean that with the chemical cleaners, but there's never a guarantee, there's never a promise. Good. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to make myself a microphone up. So we've got the circuit diagram here. Is there anything where it shows the microphone? No. I'll look at some, I'll have a look online and see what's happened, and I'll see whether we've got a 6-pin plug. Right, I've changed 4 electrolytic capacitors in this, just in case. They've tested as okay, and so it's actually made no difference. Well, it doesn't look like it's made any difference. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 of them are 47 microfarads, 2 of them are 2.2, or the 4 points, 2.2. So the deviation is inadequate. Absolute peak's about 1.7. I've then made another mic. It's exactly the same with the standard replacement mic it is with the factory mic. So at the end of the day, sometimes you've got to realise that this is a scrap set. So we're not putting a memory capacitor in. There just isn't enough to solder to. If we start soldering to these pads, because it's all rotted, you can't solder to them anyway. So if we start putting jumper leads in and things, we're going to start with tracks coming off. This radio doesn't need to have any memory backup because it doesn't need to have any memories. Okay, it'll inconveniently boot up on channel 1, but loads of sets inconveniently boot up on ridiculous channels like 9. So sometimes you've got to say this is a 20-year-old set. It didn't last very long. We've managed to resurrect it. I didn't expect to do that. I honestly didn't. I thought it'd be going back on non-working. It's working, and it's working all right. The transmitted audio is lower than I would like, and it's on a par with how new sets come. So yeah, we've got transmitted audio. I can 1, 2 testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. But it's not as much as I would like. So we're going to button it up because if we start messing about and changing component values, it could be a varicap diode that's slightly degraded somewhere under this wax. You know, we're just not going to spend good money after bad. It works. It works better than a lot of new sets do, and it's time to put it back together. And it's the first one that I've ever got close to doing anything with. They've usually been ruined by the silly modifications. So does this speaker work is the next question. Will we be able to tick something off our little box? I'm not helped by the circuit diagram I've got. Is for a version with AM. So once again, I've spent about 4 hours on this. Let's unplug the extension speaker. And the internal speaker works. Good, that'll be something else we can tick off the tick off box. So, just I'll put a couple of screws in just for starters. It's got self tappers. I hate it when radios have got self tappers. I'll put the rest of these in a moment. I'll just put 4 in out of 10. After all this work, I don't want the lid to fall off and short something out, do I? So, good receive. Let's just have one final look at transmitted audio, or listen to transmitted. We've heard it on that mic. Let's hear it on the factory original mic. I think we'll do all the tests tonight on the factory original mic, and then at the end we'll switch over to the one I've made up. Testing 1 2, wallow 1 2, wallow. In fact, there's more gain. Wallow. It's about 1.7 on the original mic. So, yeah, that's it's not good, but it's acceptable. I'll label this as this mic is done as EM27, and for those of you interested, the pin out. So we've got a 6-pin plug. Let's pretend this is our jig, you know, we use. So this is solder pins towards you. So it's common or earth, and then the top one there is transmit, receive, audio, and then it has scan facilities, and I know that that's the scan one. That's something else, I'm not sure. But it's common, scan which you don't need, transmit, receive, and audio. Good. So I think we've filled most of our clipboard in. I just need to label that before putting it on the shelf of mics. I mean, there's another expense. We've made a mic up for no real reason. But, you know, we need to have these things. So the mic's okay, the speaker's okay. Low TX deviation, 1.7 kilohertz. Well, if we start removing surface mount parts from that, and starting to alter values or look into things, chances are it will kill the radio. Right. I agree with you too. 1 nano Roger. Actually, if we set the squelch, we can press scan. And the other thing we can do, I looked at the instructions. If we're going to function, are we not in scan? If we're going to function, you can select the EU set of channels from there, and we'll go back out of that, and then we can scan that lot as well. And if we turn the squelch channel, we're going to hear interference. So we'll come out of that, go back to the other set of channels, the UK. It is the amber one, you know, it's not the green one. I think it's got some kind of auto squelch as well. Am I right, or am I lying? Let's press function again. Auto cue, is that it? I'm not even going into that. I'll give it a go. It probably is. So come out to scan. "19 a Roger." And so there we are, we're all ready to do an on-the-air test. Right, so it's better to have it working like this than it is not working at all. So there you are. I've surprised myself. Well, Colin's going to come back and they're going to ask him what his phone call's all about. I expect they're doing more than 45 watts. So, worked out a lot better than I thought. Just would have liked it to have been 100%, but it isn't. So it's on a par with a new set. that isn't good. Right. The one other thing I'll mention, I keep getting people putting comments in and they keep getting deleted. They get deleted because they've mentioned something that isn't UK legal. Can I just, if you're going to put a comment in, please make sure that it doesn't involve anything pertaining to another country or more channels than as are permitted in the UK. There's a lot of key words which will stop comments coming through, and some of these comments are detailed and they're great comments, and somebody puts a word in which causes it to go into the sandbox. I can't edit it and it gets deleted, and it's such a shame. So this channel is all about UK FM CB radio. We are nothing on this channel to do with single sideband, even though I accept that since 2014 there's 4 or 5 UK sets which are legal in the UK to use SSB on, not old clonkers, not other things converted from something else. They have to be post 2014, they have to be CE approved, and I don't want to know that somebody had a 1977 make. I think we were discussing the Comtron and somebody was saying, oh, they had a naughty one. Well, it's just not, the comment's not going to go through. So, you know, please, can we just try and keep it to what the channel's about, which is UK FM CB radio, and that way all the comments come through and we all get to enjoy them. So thanks for watching, and we'll be doing an on-air test later.